Good afternoon everybody and welcome back to our channel. Today is currently Boxing Day, which is the 26th of December 2024, and as you can see by this video, it is another pre-travel day. But before we get into that, I just want to wish everyone a very merry happy Christmas. So Christmas was yesterday. Jess and I had a lovely Christmas. Now normally we decide to go to Jessica's mum's up in the Wirral, but this year we decided to have a Christmas at home, and it was lovely. We got up yesterday morning around about 9 AM, had some bacon sandwiches, opened up our presents, and then basically we just sat in front of the TV till about lunchtime, and then I made a cracking roast dinner. And then we sat and watched some films, bit of Christmas TV, and then round about 7 o'clock I think my brother turned up and we had some picky bits out for him, a few beers, watched a bit of TV, watched Gavin and Stacey. That was absolutely brilliant. Still a little bit, what's the word? I'm still a little bit none the wiser what happened on the fishing trip. I thought that was going to get resolved, but obviously it didn't. And then we watched some other movies, other little bits in the evening, and then around about 2 o'clock in the morning my brother left. Went back to his place. He only lives around the corner, so it wasn't too much for him. But it's been a really lovely day. Really nice Boxing Day. We got up this morning around about 10. I had to nip to the shops because I had to get a few bits for the trip that we're going on. Whilst I was doing that, Jessica took all the decorations down and the tree because we're not going to be back from our trip until at least the 14th of January, and I really don't want to be taking down the tree on that day, and it's meant to be bad luck anyway if you keep up after the 6th of January. So we took the tree down today, which was horrible, but it had to be done. If you're wondering where Jess is currently whilst I'm filming this, now normally if you're a regular viewer to our channel, Jessica will now be in the bedroom sorting out all the documents, our passports, money, etc. Well, she's not doing that today. She's currently just left to go around my brother's house. I'm going to follow straight after I film this because my brother is hosting a little get together. So last night I and Jess made a little picky tea and a few drinks, and my brother came around to that, and now we're going around to him and he's going to be doing a little picky tea, a few drinks. I think we might be playing darts, watch a little bit of TV, some football on as well. United are on tonight, hence the hat, and my Christmas jumper. Obviously it's not United, it's Only Fools and Horses, which is one of my favourite comedy shows here in the UK. If you're American and other nationalities you might not understand, but for me it was brilliant. Jessica and I did actually go and watch the theatre musical show a few weeks ago. Fantastic. So if you've not seen that yet, go and do that, but I digress. So Jessica's actually left and went round to my brother's house, so I'm going to be joining them as soon as I finish. But before I leave, I just wanted to pop on here and do a pre-travel day, just to let you know what we're doing, where we're going, the plan, etc. So as I said, today is Boxing Day. It's currently the 26th of December 2024. Tomorrow morning we'll be leaving and making our way to Heathrow Airport. We're not sure how we're going to get there yet. We've got a few options. We can either get an Uber, train, or a bus. Bus is the cheapest option but the longest option. My brother might even take us depending on what the traffic's like and what the bus timetable and the train timetables are like, although I do believe it probably will go back to normal, but we'll just have to play it by ear and see. That's not been decided yet. We're going to Heathrow Airport. We'll be checking into a Thistle Hotel on Bath Road, so you should we should be able to get to the airport and then get a bus or an Uber or whatever to Bath Road. Bath Road is literally on the same road as the airport, so it's not much of a trek, and we'll be staying in the Thistle Hotel for one night. I'm not sure what we're going to do once we get there. I know we're going to have to go and get some dinner. I might find a little pub and get a drink or so, have an early-ish night, watch a little bit of TV in the room, and then we'll get up on the we'll get up on the Friday the 28th, and we make our way over to Heathrow Airport, and we'll be flying to Washington DC in America, and Jessica and I are returning to winter camp with the league at Camp Greentop. So if you are a usual follower of our channel, you know that most years recently Jess and I volunteer at a winter camp looking after children and adults with disabilities. Now rolling back a few years, in 2010 I went to Camp America and worked for the league at Camp Greentop. and it was looking after children and adults with various disabilities, either autism, Down syndrome, cerebral palsy, some people that have just had an accident and now they're in a wheelchair, motor neuron disease I think is on there as well, and then I went back in 2011 for a summer, and then I went back in 2012, and that's why I met Jess in camp on 2012. But every year they do a winter camp which lasts around about 6 or 7 days, and me and Jess try and go back every year. It's not always the case, but we're going back this year. We did go back the year before, and we went back the year before that as well, so I think this is our 3rd winter camp in a row. But we're going back. We're going to be landing into Washington DC around about 3 o'clock American time on the Friday. By the time we get to camp, we're looking about 5 or 6 in the evening. We'll have some dinner, probably a few icebreakers, getting to know everyone, and then we'll go to bed, wake up in the morning on the Saturday, and then the campers arrive later on at lunchtime, and we'll be there for about 5 or 6 days with them to the 3rd of January. Now, we're not going to film with the camera once we get to camp, because the camera is expensive. It's our only way that we can document our trips when we go on them. If anything happens to the camera, then we're pretty much in a mess, in a bit of a pickle. So we're going to film us getting to the airport, film us flying, film us getting to camp, and then once we get to camp, the camera will go away and we'll just film on Jessica's phone or my phone. Now, the camp is going to be from the 29th to the 3rd, so I think it's about 5 and a bit days. So like I said, we'll film on Jessica's camera, on her phone and my phone. The camera will go in the bag. This camera that I'm filming on now, the Canon G7X, will be going in the bag and out the way so it doesn't get any breakages or anything like that, and we'll film the whole of camp on Jessica's phone, and then we will once we leave camp, we'll then go back to the actual camera. But camp is from, like I said, the 29th to the 3rd of January. We're not going to be filming loads at camp because we're there primarily for looking after the campers, giving the parents and guardians a rest over the Christmas period and New Year period. So we'll be filming on Jessica's phone, just little snippets throughout the 5 or 6 days we're there, and then we can just make one vlog out of all of camp. When we leave camp on the 3rd of January, we'll be making our way to Baltimore, and we've got a hotel in Baltimore for 2 nights. Now, if you watched last year's winter camp, you would have seen us go out for a few drinks in Baltimore, and we had the awful realisation of coming back to the hotel room after being in Baltimore on a night out, knowing that we had to get up in 3 hours to go to a flight to Orlando. And we said we're not doing that again because we was absolutely hungover. Jessica was being sick in the bathroom. I was being sick in the actual sink in the bathroom, and it wasn't a pretty sight. For some reason, we just went really mad that year with everyone last year, and we paid for it, and we wasn't properly right for the next day or 2 after in Orlando. So we decided to do 2 nights in Baltimore. So when we get to Baltimore on the 3rd, we can go out with everyone, have a good drink. If there isn't a hangover, we can have a hangover the next day, and then we'll probably go for some food somewhere, and then we don't fly out to MCO until the 5th. So we'll wake up on the 5th in Baltimore. We'll make our way to Baltimore BWI Airport in Baltimore, and we'll be flying down to Orlando. We are staying in Orlando for around about, I think it's 8.5 days it works out. We'll get there quite early on the 5th, about 9 o'clock in the morning, and we're there until the 13th, the afternoon of the 13th. So I think it's about 7.5, 8 days there. If you've watched our last, or started to watch our most recent Orlando trip, which would have been in August or September, I think it was August, it was definitely August. They have started going up now. I think there's only a couple into the series, but if you do remember watching the pre-travel day, I did say that Visit Orlando have given us a passbook, which is like a portal to get in to get free sort of, or gifted experiences, gifted restaurant meals, maybe hotels, etc, etc, with the help of Visit Orlando. Now, they don't give them out to willy-nilly people, to everyday people. They're there for journalists, media, or people like us that are working with them to experience stuff so we can film and show you. So when we got that in August last year, it actually doesn't expire until January the 31st. So it's still in date, this pass book. So when we realised it was going back to winter camp, we decided to sign back in onto this pass book and look for all the things that we've not done before, or well, basically the stuff that we've not actually done before, because there is a lot of stuff on this list and we can't apply for everything because there's just not enough time to do it. So we've done loads of stuff in that trip, and the stuff that's left over we applied to do it on this trip now after winter camp. Now, not everything went to plan. Some of the stuff was already fully booked, some of them never got back to us, some of them said that they're no longer working with people like us. But we've booked a fair bit of stuff. I don't know exactly because it's all Jessica's department, but I know there is a basketball game we're going to see the Orlando Magics. There's a few other things we're doing. There's a few restaurants. There's a few other exciting activities that we're going to be doing in Orlando. We're also going to see the ice hockey. I think they're called the Polar Bears, no, the Solar Bears, the Florida Solar Bears. We're going to watch them, but that wasn't gifted. We paid for that out of our own money because it's the only sport we've not actually seen in America. Neither are Jess and I are massive ice hockey fans. In fact, I'm not an ice hockey fan, full stop. But it's the only sport we've not actually seen in America, so we had to do that. So we've bought tickets on Ticketmaster for that. That was quite cheap as well. That was only like $15 each, so we've got good tickets for that. We've got some other stuff to look forward to. Like I said, we'll visit Orlando in the passbook. We're going to Disneyland, that we've not done before. I think we're going to a couple of museums. We've got a few restaurants. We've got no hotels. Some of the hotels were fully booked. Some hotels got back to us and said that they're not working with people like us at the moment, and then some people said that because we've used them already, that voucher is no longer existed. So we decided to book the Rosen Inn. Now, if you watched our last series, or currently watching our last series, like the one I mentioned when we was in August, you would have seen us stay at the Legacy Resorts and Suites, where we had that lovely apartment and I've done that massive breakfast. Now, opposite, across the road from that, there is a Rosen Inn that looks really good. We walked past it quite a lot on our last trip, and I really enjoyed. Well, I didn't really enjoy it. I really liked the area that we was in. It was quite close to everything, and when we had a little nosy in the Rosen Inn on that trip, was like, we'd love to stay here. So we managed to get 8 days in the hotel in the Rosen Inn, Lake Buena Vista. Again, that was not gifted to us. We paid full price for that. That was out of our own money. But we do have a free breakfast on one of the days there, which we're looking forward to. We love Rosen Inns. We've stayed quite a lot of Rosen Inns over the last, say, I've stayed in a lot of Rosen Inns over the last 20 years. And obviously Jess, when I got with Jess and we started going to America, we stayed in quite a lot of them. We think they're brilliant. They're cheap, affordable, normally very, very clean and very good. The standards are quite high. It's obviously not the best hotel you can ever stay in. There's a lot more 5-star hotels, but we're not looking for that. We just want a clean, cheap hotel room, and Rosen Inn, you can't go wrong. So we're going to be staying there for 8 nights. We're not going to be chopping and changing to other hotels. We're actually going to be in that whole hotel for the whole duration. Oh, I do have another thing to mention, that we are going to NASA, Kennedy Space Center. Now, if you would have watched our last vlog, not in August when we went, I can't remember when it was, but there's another Orlando series on there somewhere on YouTube where we went to Kennedy Space Center, and we loved it, but we didn't get to do everything because we had transport that had to leave at 4:30 and the park didn't shut till 6, so we couldn't see some of the stuff. Well, we're going back on this trip and we're actually going to hire a car and drive there so we can actually leave when we want to leave, not when we're told we've got to leave, if that makes sense. So we're doing another trip to Kennedy Space Center, so that's going to be good. There's some other bits and bobs, but because I don't get involved on that side of things, I don't actually have all the facts, but I'm sure Jess will tell you more when we get closer to that. Obviously, we've got winter camp to get through first. Like I said, we will be vlogging on Jessica's phone at winter camp just to protect our actual camera. There will be snippets of bits and bobs, and then we'll try and make something out of those clips. I don't think it's going to be a very in-depth one. I don't think we've ever done an in-depth one at camp because obviously we're not there to create content. We're actually there primarily to support the campers and make sure they have a fun time at camp, but it doesn't hurt picking up the camera and just showing little things of what we get up to on the 5 days that we're there. But we're looking so forward to it. Once we leave Orlando, we're going to fly home together. We'll land in Heathrow on the 14th of January around about 9 o'clock in the morning, and then Jessica's getting another flight to Manchester because it's her auntie's birthday. It's a special milestone. I think it's 50. I believe. I think it's a 50, but I can't go because of work. So once we both land in Heathrow, Jessica will go to flight connections and fly on to Manchester, where she'll get picked up or get a train to her mum's, and then I'll make my way home, and then she's going to be at her mum's for probably be about a week. So she won't be back to at least the 21st or 22nd of January, and I'm not going to be back to the 14th, hence why we had to take down the tree and the decorations and everything today, because otherwise it's going to be up for a long time. And with Trevor on his own here, with the exception of my brother popping in and out to feed him and look after him, we don't know what state the tree's going to be in by the time we get back, because he does have a knack of climbing the tree and chewing it and bits and bobs like that. I'm sure if you've got a cat at home with a Christmas tree, you know what it's like. It's not the easiest anyway to stop the cat from chewing the Christmas tree. We've tried all sorts. We've tried lemon scented stuff, but it doesn't stop him. He starts chewing it. So if we leave the tree up for 3 weeks whilst we're away, I dread to think what state the living room was going to be in, and the tree, and I dread to think what state Trevor will be in. So that's why I take it down today. But I'm about to get ready now and leave and walk round to my brother's. As I said, it's only a 2-3 minute walk, so he's put a nice big festive spread on. For us, apologies, I've had a rotten cold and a nasty cough for the last few days. It's coming to the back of it now, so by the time we get to camp I should be fine. But it's just a little scratchy cough that I've got at the moment, but I'm okay. I've done a COVID test, it's not COVID, so don't worry. So yeah, so I'm going to leave here now, walk around to my brother's, make sure I take my darts. We're going to have a little festive spread, a few beers and whatsoever. And then I'm going to watch a Man United game at He's, and then my brother's a massive Leeds United supporter, so they're on TV at 8, so I said I'll stay there and watch that with him. Jessica's going to come home after the football around about 7, because she's got to do a few odd things in the house before we leave tomorrow. I'm going to stay there till probably about midnight, I imagine, because we're going to have a few drinks. Me and my brother are going to play darts, maybe have a little go on the Xbox. At least once a week I go to my brother's house and play darts and FIFA and stuff, so we'll probably do that tonight because I'm not going to see him for a couple of weeks. Can't wait. We can't wait to go back and see the campers, can't go back to see the staff. There will be some staff that we don't know, so that's going to take a day or two just to get, you know, used to working with them and getting on with them. But normally everyone at camp is brilliant. I mean, you've got to be a certain special kind of person to work at a place like that, because honestly it is the most rewarding job. It is hard, don't get me wrong, it's very rewarding though. So I've never had an awful experience at camp, so I don't expect to have one today or this trip. But yeah, there's going to be a few people that we don't know, so we're going to have to get to know them, get to know their working routine, how they like to work. But we're looking forward to meeting new and old friends and all the campers, and then we're looking forward to going out in Baltimore for a night, let our hair down and have a few drinks, and then we're looking forward to getting to Orlando in Florida and making use of that pass book. So on that note, I've been waffling on for about 19 minutes now. So before I leave, I just want to wish everyone a very merry happy Christmas and a happy new year. It's been a year for us. It's had its ups and downs. If you've been following us on Instagram, you would have realised or seen that Jessica's dad passed away whilst was on the Arvia on Halloween. It came out of the blue, we didn't expect it. And as you probably would have seen Jessica's little video a couple of weeks ago, she took it very badly. I did expect Christmas to be quite solemn, and I did think that Jessica would, you know, be a little bit tearful, and she was, but credit to her, we had a fantastic day. So thank you to all the well wishes, thank you to all the comments. We had a lot of comments, a lot of Instagram, Facebook comments with people's kind, sincere regards. So I just want to come on and say thank you for that as well. I know Jessica said thank you, but I haven't yet. So thank you very much for all of that. Thank you so much for all the Christmas well wishes. 2025 is going to be an exciting year for us, touch wood. We've got camp and Florida, and then in February we're on another cruise. But Jessica will tell you more about that in February when we go. We're doing some interrailing, so we're getting the train to some destinations as well. So that's all part of the cruise video, cruise series that we're doing in February. So we're all looking forward to that. But I'll let Jess go into more detail about that nearer the time. But on that note, we wish you a very merry happy Christmas and a happy new year. Bye everyone.